My name is Dennis Leonard. I'm the principal here in Dunboyne College, and on behalf of all the staff, I want to welcome you to this evening. Unfortunately, like last year, we have to present our open nights online remotely, and we thank Hilda Coughlin and our events committee for organising this event, but particularly Rob Kelly and Susan Clark and Ronan here for actually doing all the background work to make sure that we can be beamed into your homes. So much of what you'll see here this evening are courses with huge progression routes and huge opportunities to go into higher education or into employment, and we'll explain those options throughout the evening. There's been a huge demand for our courses in recent years. Dunboyne College has a great learning environment, has a family atmosphere, and there's a lot of student support, learning support, academic support. We have very experienced tutors in their field of expertise, high quality teaching and learning, both on campus and remote when it needs to be. A college has a great track record, a huge track record since 2003 for outstanding reputation in teaching and learning, and a great reputation with local third-level institutions and employers. In fact, in the past week, we've appeared in the Irish Independent, the Irish Times, and numerous radio stations who've highlighted Dunboyne College's fantastic success in progressing people to further and higher education and to employment. In fact, 90% of the students who finish the year here with us with a full award and who apply to CAO get a third-level offer. And 90% of our students who finish with us every June are either in employment or in a further or higher education course within a few months of finishing here with us. We have over 60 courses, all accredited by QQI. All our courses are at least level 5, many are at level 6. All lead to progression routes at level 7 and 8 in the university and colleges around the country, regardless of your leave insert points coming in or whether you're a mature student going back into education. All our students have a work experience module which gets you on the job experience or clinical experience in many of the areas that you'll see here tonight, in all the computers and design areas that you're going to hear featured this evening by Liam and Mary and our guidance counsellors Maeve and Derek. Statistically, QQI students are more focused, they have excellent retention at third level, and they perform extremely well academically. And we have all that in research from our local colleges here, like Maynooth University, TU for Dublin, DCU, and many other colleges, which have told us how well our students progress upon leaving here. The flexible options at Dunboyne College allow students to sample various modules in September to make sure you're in the right programme. And another very positive for further education is that the dropout rate for people who do a further education course first and then move on to third level is less than 3%, compared to the dropout rate for leave inserts going directly to third level can be 10% for universities and over 20% in the IOTs. And that dropout rate has been rising in the last couple of years with all the online learning. Students here learn referencing, research, self-directed learning. They tend to stay the full third level course afterwards, unlike many who might go straight from leave insert. And Maeve and Derek will be here later on tonight to answer specific questions in relation to those progression routes and how well our students are doing. But over 400 of last year's group that left here last May and June got third level offers to colleges all around the country, 115 to Maynooth, 39 to DCU, 21 to UCD, 12 to Trinity, 186 to the TU for Dublin, 22 to Dundalk, 31 to Athlone, and double digits in places like Carlow, Galway, Letterkenny, Tralee, Sligo, Waterford, etc. And many of our students, about 50% of our students, do not apply to CAO because they come here to get an industry qualification in areas like healthcare, childcare, animal care, office, IT, and they're often taken for employment directly here in May or June, directly from our courses. Also, our students here learn a lot of skills for life. They learn study skills, they learn how to reference, they learn how to do a bibliography. Students here will learn how to navigate all the online portals like Moodle. They learn how to apply theory and practice in their assignments. They take responsibility for their own work, self-directed learning, and really an awful lot of time management qualification happens here as well. A PLC course is a bridge that takes you to where you want to go. Further education, and particularly these, are a great option. And Dunboyne College has been a unique bridge for many students on their educational journey for many years. There are many pathways to where you want to go. You should always consider all of them. Further education provides clarity and that opportunity. At the end of the year, many of our students come back to tell us that it was the best decision that they ever made, whether they came here as a first choice or whether they weren't sure of their options going forward or they wanted a year to explore the many IT courses that are available, or computers or design or other faculties as well. We run a huge range of extracurricular activities here, from sports to theme weeks to fundraisers, and they're all featured in our newsletter. The DCFE newsletter is up online on dunboynecollege.ie, and over those 20 pages you will see an awful lot of student activities, very active student council, Erasmus programme with trips abroad, a scholarship programme, many sports and cultural activities as well are all featured there. How do you get here in terms of interview and registration? Once you apply online on our website, dunboynecollege.ie, you'll see on the home page there's a red square that just says apply now. If you click that tonight or any time in the coming months, it'll take you through the application process. 10 or 15 minutes fills out your form. You'll also find some of our courses, like some of our software programs tonight, are also on CAO. This year the CAO is piloting some further education programs, but from January of next year, 2023, all of the further education programs will be listed on CAO as well. Interviews happen remotely, and for this year again they'll probably happen where you upload your personal statement about why you want to do the course, your reference, your results, your photograph, and once you have that uploaded you'll be contacted by our admissions department, and many of you will be offered an offer that you'll have in your back pocket straight away in February, March, April or May of this year. You have that going forward and you know you have it no matter how the Leave Insert turns out. And then if you decide next September, October that you're coming, once you have your full fee paid, you have your place. If you decide that you're moving on to some other programme or employment or third level institution, you get a full refund of your fee except a €30 enrolment fee. So once you pay the full fee, it guarantees your place. You can claim a refund up to the beginning of October. And demand for places is usually high. In fact, over 2,500 people last year applied for our 1,000 places. So it's better to apply early in case certain courses would fill up the high demand courses. Just a final note, few notes before I hand over to Liam. After 2 years of uncertainty in Leave Insert programs in 5th and 6th year, maybe it's time to take a year out to develop your career, to experience college life, and spend the year studying an area of computers or IT or any of the design courses or art or music, whatever it happens to be. Study it in detail to make sure that's what you want to do, the industry you want to get into or the third level course you want to pursue. Come May of next year, then you hit the world running with a huge range of diverse skills in your arsenal. If you miss anything tonight, don't forget it's always available on opendcfe.ie, including the application process. So you can follow us again on our website, dunboynecollege.ie, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even TikTok. And as you've been saying here for the past 18 years, begin here, go anywhere. We hope you find what you've been looking for here this evening, and we thank you very much for tuning in. As Henry Miller once said, one's destination is never a place, but just a way of seeing things. Hopefully you see tonight exactly where you want to proceed, whether it's to Dunboyne College or not, and I hope all of you arrive at your career goal, whatever that may be. I now hand you over to Liam McCabe, who will take you through the vast amount of courses in our computer and design department. Have a very good evening.
Thank you, Dennis. Well, good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining in. Here in Dunboyne College, we have a very comprehensive list of courses on offer in the computer and design department. So I'm going to now talk you through some of these and give you an understanding and an insight into what's involved in those courses and which one you may want to choose above any other one. So we'll start the ball rolling with the Software Development and Games Design course. Software development and games design is an ever-expanding industry. The games industry itself is on the brink of becoming something magnificent in terms of development and career opportunities and possibilities. This course encompasses a wide variety of skills, including skills that you might need to develop a game, to create a game, to build a game, but it also encompasses software development. So you have all sorts of features and functionalities like how do you write code, what is the idea behind writing the code, how do you build applications, how do you run those applications, whether they end up being web-based applications, mobile-based applications, internet-based applications, etc. There's a huge variety and a huge spectrum of elements that are encompassed in this course. It's a 1-year-long course, and hopefully by the time you walk out the door of this course, you're equipped with a skill set which is not only focused on the industry, but also focused on allowing you the opportunity to progress further with your education, wherever that might be. The software industry, as I said, is applicable to multiple disciplines, including your games design, as well as offline and online development. We use software on a daily basis. We use it actually an awful lot more than we give it credit for, it's everywhere. It's in our smartphones, it's in our tablets, it's in our game consoles. Take your pick of where it is, but the only way it gets there is if people like you come to colleges like here and learn the skills in order to make that happen. So what exactly is involved in this course? Well, as I said, there's a vast variety of modules, etc. So right the way through from object-oriented programming, how to correctly structure your code, how to write your code, how to deal with problem solving, how to deal with algorithms and so on to make something that's in your mind a realization and get it to actually appear on somebody's screen. Database methods for persistent data storage, web authoring for web-based interfaces, and of course the games analysis and design, where we use game design engines and we follow the concepts and principles to make your audience engrossed in what they're trying to do. Next, we have Creative Digital Media. So the Creative Digital Media course offers you as a learner the opportunity to learn a wide variety of multimedia elements. These can encompass things like how to create advertisements, how to create radio productions, how to create and edit videos, etc. Again, something that we kind of take for granted is that when we flick through, for example, our social media timeline, every couple of flicks that we give, we've got some advertisement or something that's trying to catch our attention. And where does that come from? Well, it comes from people like you who come here and learn the skill set that you need to make creative digital media a realization on people's devices, in their homes, or wherever that might be. Again, it gives you an incredible insight to what's involved in this industry, encompassing how things get produced, where to put them, and how to get them in front of the right audience, etc. Our students in this course spend a lot of time doing practical elements. Just for example, the slideshow that's in front of you right now is some of our students who are making creative elements for one of the games modules, which you can actually see on the screen in front of you. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have some video editing in order to get the best to show for what you've just recorded and how to make it so that there's no errors and flaws within that. Again, some of the content within the Creative Digital Media course, multimedia authoring, animation, which in itself is an excellent module to keep the stuff that moves on your screen and keeps your users interested. Communications, work experience, games analysis and design, and multiple other modules which are specifically designed to get you towards a career in creative digital media. Okay, next we have our online marketing and e-business course. This in itself, again, is an incredibly interesting course. Who knows where the world is going to go, but we can clearly see that most of the things that we are used to doing are now moving online, and that includes, of course, business. E-business, e-commerce, all of that stuff, you need to be on top of this in order to get the information that you want from where you need it. Customers are online, businesses are online, and if you come to this college and sit in one of our classrooms, it's our intention that we're going to teach you the skills that you need to know in order to make that a realization. Whether it be you're managing a website, designing a website, or simply promoting that website to make sure that the right customer gets there, then that's what we're going to aim to equip you to do. It has to be said that people who use smart devices, phones, tablets, even your computer, what they see on the screen is only a small part of that puzzle. How it gets there is the real deal. And that's what we teach you, is what happens behind the scenes in order to make the content appear on the screens, using a whole host of tricks and tools and anything else that you need to make that happen. So whether that be actually building the website, whether it be the the software that goes into making that happen, whether it is the internet in order to get the right combination of tools and tricks in order to get your application to appear top of the pile when somebody searches for something that's relevant to what you're doing. We have all that here, and we're going to put you in the classroom and we're going to teach you exactly what you need to do in order to make it as somebody who does their business online. Okay, next we have computer systems and networks. This one itself actually is a sort of a more technical approach to what we have here in the college. It does, of course, look at software applications like web design and like mobile development, but it also focuses quite heavily on the technical end of things. So there's a lot of detail here about the components and the elements of the computer. So what exactly is inside your computer, what makes it run, It also deals a lot with the networking communications between devices. So this can happen in a variety of different ways. It's not just your networks as you would see them with the hardwired. It also deals a lot with mobile technologies and mobile networking, all of which are essential skills for anybody who wants a career in computing. You should have some understanding of how devices communicate. In particular, computer systems and networks, like some of the other courses that we offer here, are just on the beginning of where they can actually go. So network and connectivity around your smart home, for example, is an incredible example of where computer systems and networks fits in. And if that's the career that you want to go in and you want to understand how devices communicate and connect with each other, then this would be the course for you. So again, it encompasses not just wired but mobile networks as well. So every device that we have in our pocket, our smartwatches, on our wrists, etc., they all communicate with each other. And that communication has to happen somehow, and that happens across a network. So hopefully, when you're in our classroom, we'll give you an understanding of how that works. So what's the modules contained in here? Well, of course, networking essentials. We have mobile technologies, we have web authoring, mathematics, and of course, operating systems. The devices that we have in our pockets don't do anything unless they know how to operate, and that's where the operating system comes in, because it teaches them and shows them exactly what to do. Once you have an understanding of that, you become in control and you're able to tell that device what to do. Okay, so moving away a little bit from some of the computerized courses, we move into the graphics department, and we get now an introduction to some of the graphics courses that we have. Some graphics courses allow for communications. They allow you to understand multimedia design, development, logos, images, the things, again, that most people take for granted. How are they there? Why are they there? How did they appear? Who constructed them? What's the purpose? Those are the kind of skills and the kind of knowledge that you need to ascertain from attending one of these courses. If we take any run-of-the-mill situation, we have, for example, prototypes that people envisage and design and get them on a screen, and they're the things that appear in front of us. Why does a device look like it does? How did that become the way it is? What's the logo that we have? All of these things don't just appear, they come from someone's imagination. They get prototyped, they get designed, they get put on screens and eventually realized into real products. And how does that happen for you? Well, through a whole host of modules. Design skills, graphics, image processing. Again, the image processing and computer illustrated graphics are what takes it from something that's just inside your head to something that's real, that other people can see too, and is on screen, and you're able to show that to the world and get it produced into real products, etc. Students in these courses get a whole host of opportunities, as it must be said for most of our courses across the curriculum, where they get opportunities to go into real world environments and they get to see these things in operation. So the likes of 3D printing environment, printing presses, etc., where do these prototypes get manufactured and so on. So these things become real when you get to go out into the field and get the opportunity to travel with the college to see what's happening out there in the industry. Perhaps you have your sights on the bigger picture and you don't just want to build software, etc. Maybe you want to build the whole building, or maybe you want to design the whole building. So why not come in here and let your architectural creativity flow in our architectural and design course? This is a really, really interesting course, and it brings into reality actually a lot of what's out there. Again, we stroll around the place and, not all of us appreciate what actually goes into making these buildings appear where they are. So what about trying to understand structure? What about trying to understand space? And what about trying to understand how things stick together and how things become a real building? Some very interesting coursework from our past students is how they realize or get to understand through the guidance of their lecturers in this college that, not old buildings are oftentimes the inspiration for the new buildings, and how designs and principles from things past also translate into the architecture of the future. They might look different, but the principles and concepts that are behind them, they're always going to be there. So how do you get to learn those? Well, you get to learn the skill set, computer-aided design, design skills. Also, you're going to learn a lot about health and safety. So architecture and health and safety, in my opinion, should go hand in hand. Drawing, freehand drawing, and combined materials. Sustainability, of course, is also involved in this course. And we know that sustainability is what's driving the economy of the future. So therefore, creating and preparing sustainable buildings is something that you should and will be involved in should you come into this course. Again, illustrations of students past, where they produce high-level graphics comparing inside and outside of spatial awareness and properties and structures and materials and so on. This course goes into incredible depth, and a whole host of skills will be presented to you for things that you really should know if that's the industry you want to go into. Next, we'll move on to media and film. Media and film production gives you an opportunity to see things from a different perspective. We all sit in front of the camera. It's not all about the beautiful presenter who's there, but there's a whole host of things that goes on behind the scenes. I'll show you now in a second what it looks like behind the scenes, but you literally just get to see us here. But anybody who's inclined to or wants to know what really happens, how do you set things up, how do you make the most of what's happening, what should you pursue if you're an active journalist, where do you want to go, what should you need to comprehend, etc. All of this stuff needs to be shown, and all of this stuff needs to be well-oiled in order for anything or any production to be put into place. So this course offers you the opportunity to see what happens behind the scenes. And believe me, it's not straightforward. It might look simple when you're in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, it's far more complex. There's sound people, there's video people, there's all sorts of personnel involved in this, and through understanding the contents of our modules that we offer here in this digital editing, how do you produce the best that you need to do? How do you produce something that's designed specifically for radio? Well, unless you come in and you learn that skill set, then it's not something that you should naturally know, but we have the staff and we have the facilities in here to allow you to do that. We have fully equipped radio rooms, we have all that you need to make this happen. What about music performance? If music performance is your thing and you want to get the best for what you possibly can in terms of presenting your acts on stage, making sure that the act is ready to go, making sure that they have the best in equipment and sound and lighting and so on, then music performance might very well be the course for you. We have recording studios, we have rehearsals, we have live broadcast. All of these things are not just skill sets that people pick up from looking at things. These are skills that you learn from being in a real world environment, immersed in what would appear to be a real world scenario where you're troubleshooting and you're problem solving, lighting, audio, effects, you're broadcasting, you're learning, and you're understanding the skills that are needed for when an act takes to the stage or an act takes to a radio environment, that their best is portrayed to the audience. And that, again, is the skill set that we're going to give to you guys here. There's a lot more about this course. If anybody is interested in this, there's a dedicated website for this, Music DCFE. You can also follow them on Instagram, and you will definitely find them on YouTube too. So the productions and the work that these guys do in the classroom is oftentimes portrayed across a whole host of social media platforms for all sorts of reasons, notwithstanding the fact that they probably should do it anyway, because what they do here is great and pretty much everybody should see it. So why not? Course content, music theory, team working. We all know that's important for music production, right? You can't see it here, but there's a whole host of people in front of me that are making this live broadcast happen. And without their skill set and without their knowledge, we wouldn't be here. So it's a complicated world. It's something that takes a lot of attention and a lot of knowledge to make it happen. It's got a whole host of career opportunities for you to get involved in. It also has a whole host of progression opportunities in terms of universities and things that you might like to do to enhance your education should you pass through this college successfully, which you will. Okay, so our next course is sound production. And sound production will also offer you an opportunity to get involved in what happens behind the scenes. Again, as mentioned before, we have a fully equipped studio where you can go in and you can learn the skills and the tricks of the trade in order to get your act or whoever is in front of you to portray their best so that whoever is listening is able to hear and understand everything that's happening. This involves, again, a whole host of complex elements. So in terms of live productions, in terms of pre-recorded music, there are differences and there are different skills that you need to know and different areas where you can specialize. So again, our very knowledgeable staff are here and ready to impart their knowledge to you and to help you get the best from your time in Dunboyne College. There are many, many modules across this, and there's a whole host of software and hardware learning that you can undertake throughout this course if you want to understand exactly what's involved in making all of this work. Again, radio production, music industry studies, these are things that are unbelievably interesting when you're in the classroom. We all take for granted that you can sit down and stuff just appears on your radio or appears on the TV, but how does it get there, and how is it made, and who removes all the glitches and those kind of things? And that really is an immersive sort of learning that you can get involved in. So if you're inclined to go this way, then perhaps this is the course for you. And again, our staff are very knowledgeable and very skilled and actually quite passionate about what they do too. So you're getting industry experience included as well. So don't be afraid to come in here. However, maybe you would prefer the more traditional approach. So our art portfolio course, it's not all about the technologies, of course. You can come in here, you can learn a lot from the art portfolio course, and you can put skills that you have to good use, whether they be in sculpture or whether they be in freehand drawing, or maybe you're quite good with a camera and you want to put people in front of the lens and take interesting pictures, then this course would be very, very good for you. It'll give you an academic qualification in something that you're truly passionate about. Drawing, painting, as I said, the digital photography, sculpting, and all sorts of other creative elements that don't necessarily have to be encompassed in software and computer-based. There's still plenty of room in this world for people who are equally as creative with a pencil, and we love to see you guys applying to this college, so don't be afraid to do that. Our students, oftentimes, it's a pleasure to walk into any of the art studios at any given time. You just really and truly do not know what you're going to see. It's always been a pleasure to me to see students who can put pencil to paper and draw or make something that's incredibly beyond what I would be capable of doing myself. And our academic staff here in Dunboyne, if they see those students with that potential, they'll nurture those and they will help you to expand on your own natural skill set and get you into a place that you need to be, ready for work, ready for university, whatever that happens to be. Next, we have our animation course. Now, I actually find this quite interesting because we talk a lot about computer-based this, that, and the other, and actually none of it or none of the above that I've spoken about really happens and is anyway good unless we have people who are skilled in the art of animation to make it happen. Software development people, they can sit down and they can tell a computer what to do, but unless there's something front-facing that the user is actually interested in and engaged in, then it kind of fails. So the animation people at the end of the day are the people who make everything that we have on our devices come to life, and they really put the interest in what we flick through on our social media timelines, animations in the games, animations in advertisements, even animations in icons on web applications that you might want to press. They don't just move because somebody wants them to move, they move because a skilled animation person has put the time and the effort in to make that happen. The animation course features all sorts of wonderfully interesting modules, design skills, painting and drawing, animation, computerized animation, and digital photography, which again gives you the opportunity to animate something that is real world produced, take a picture of it, and we're good to go. Obviously, it's a lot more complex than that, but by the time you leave here, you'll understand everything that's involved in it. So that's pretty much it from me. Like I said, we have a whole host of different courses here in the college in our computer and design department, whether it be something software based, whether it want to be networking, whether you're good with a pen and a pencil or some paint or a sculpture, it doesn't matter. We've got something to suit you here, so please apply for one or many of our courses. Come on in here and let us support you in your journey. Like I said, that's it from now. I'm going to pass you over to Derek, Maeve and Mary, who are going to answer any of your questions that you might have.
I'm Maeve Nimmo and Derek Ball here beside me. We're guidance counsellors in the college, and our colleague Mary Farrell. We're going to answer some of your questions. So please work away with your questions in the chat box. Liam also is going to help us answer some questions that come in. So as you've heard from Liam, there's a huge amount of courses in this section, and it's quite varied. And this it's a very interesting department indeed. So maybe if we could come to you first, Mary, and talk a little bit about the difficulty that students might see with some of those modules that come up? Because, especially maybe in those computer areas and things, and they see the operating systems, I know you teach that subject.
Yeah.
What would you say to students that are a little bit fearful maybe around modules that they see?
Yeah, so such as I teach programming, 2 programming modules, web authoring, and I teach programming and design principles, and as you said, operating systems. So for the operating systems, it is a bit daunting when you come in, but I support the students throughout their assignments, and we kind of work together, and kind of computers is all about teamwork and working as part of a team and working together. So what it involves setting up a dual boot operating system, which means setting up 2 operating systems on the computer. And again, there's lots of support around that. Setting up user groups, security issues around computers as well, and usernames and stuff like that. Then my programming modules, we teach coding languages. We teach Java and JavaScript. And that involves setting up small programs, getting used to the basic concepts first. And then it progresses to more difficult codes, such as setting up a web app. And then the web design module, web authoring, is basically teaching HTML and CSS code, which you end up designing for websites throughout the year.
So they all sound quite daunting to me, not being a computer type person. People that apply for these courses are obviously probably very familiar with a lot of those terminologies that you're using there. But would they need to have sort of a background in IT or anything to come to do these courses?
We start from the very beginning with the basic concepts, and we work through the year then with the different assignments. So it would be beneficial if you did have some sort of coding experience, such as computer science for the Leaving Cert now has been brought in. And if you don't have to though, because we're going to start off from the very basics. Same with operating systems as well. You don't need to know much about the operating systems. We look at Linux, and we look at Google Chrome, and we look at Windows, and we compare the 3 operating systems. So we do start just from scratch, So,
yeah. Great, thank you, Mary.
Liam, there's always a lot of interest around our computers and design department, and particularly our IT courses. There are lots of comments coming in there about being a high employment sector and lots of money to be made. Is there any particular advice you would give to a student considering an IT course in Dunboyne College, or is there any particular growing area?
That's an interesting question. Is there any advice I give? Get a good bank account for a start. No, the advice would be just to come in and do it. I mean, there's no native assumption that people can just do what they need to do for industry ready without having any training. And, to follow on from your question, Maeve's question, if you're not experienced, you're not comfortable in it, it doesn't matter. I always say to my students from day one that the learning comes from breaking things. So if you come in here and you break things and you figure out why it's broken and how to fix it, then that's what's going to get you the right career path. If everything works from day one, it's not really going to learn you anything or teach you anything, should I say. But if you come in and you experiment and you play around and you break things, then that's it. But to definitively answer your question, advice for students, persist. Okay, nothing works first time. In fact, nothing works 7th or 8th time. It works eventually, and persistence is what gets you the career path and the big bucks that you're talking about.
I think as well, the good thing about further ed is that when you look at our range of IT courses, there is great transferability from all of those courses. Just if you do pick, let's say, the gaming course, it doesn't mean that you're stuck in that course. You can progress. You might decide that during the year that's not for you. That doesn't mean that you cannot apply to different computer courses in colleges. So there's good transferability from each of the 3 courses in IT into other sectors.
There is, absolutely, and you hopefully picked it up from my own presentation there a little while ago, is that there's a lot of these courses that are intertwined, especially what I said about the animation. Nothing that we do in the computer world is any use to anybody unless they can actually use it. So we can do our bit and we can write the code and we can make it do exactly what we want it to do, but the end user doesn't see it the same way we do. They need something nice, they need something pretty to click on or to drag or to drop or to double tap or whatever that happens to be. And it's those front end interfaces like the animation, etc., that make it happen. Or more to the point, if you're going to use some kind of application and you need to broadcast it or you need to show it to more of a wider audience, and you need support from back-end crews or other people in some of the other courses that we offer, and of course other colleges offer. But yes, you can of course transfer between them. You'll see that there's a lot of similarities between some of the courses, like the software design course, the computer systems and networks, and the games analysis course. They offer similar aspects in terms of your software. So you need to know how software works, you need to know how it's put together, you need to know how to interact with it, and so on. And those skill sets are transferable across a whole host of industries.
And just a quick one there as well. Would Leaving Cert higher level maths be a prerequisite to apply to any of our computer courses here?
No, it wouldn't be. There are elements of mathematical computations within the programming, of course. There's areas of problem solving too. But for what we do here, you'll do maths for computers, so you'll get an understanding of the maths that we need. But the more you progress in computing and the more into it you become, you're going to need more maths, but that goes hand in hand with the level of your academic qualification. So it's not something that should be an immediate negative to anybody who's thinking to apply to the college. Come and we'll take it from there and look after you when you get here.
Thanks, Liam.
And Mary, just to come to you a little bit about the modules, the placement and work experience. Can you talk a little bit about, where students might get placement or the work experience module? And
Yeah, no problem. So the work experience module is compulsory. You have to do 60 hours to pass it. Preferably, it's better to get work experience in your chosen field, such as computers. If you're picking computers, it's better to get it in that area. It's on your timetable. So your timetable has 4 days of college, and then usually that 1 day a week is for work experience. So we do support the students, so they're not under pressure to get work, if they're finding it difficult. We have a database with employers that we dealt with in the past, and we can get them.
Students don't have to worry about placement.
No.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we have some specific questions coming in as well around, there's a question here about applying through the website or the CAO. So this year, for the first year, further education training courses, PLC courses as you know them, do feature on the CAO's website. This is a pilot scheme, as Dennis mentioned earlier. This is a pilot scheme. So they just appear there this year, and when you hit onto that on the CAO's website, it does redirect you into another website that comes straight to us. So you can't actually apply for your course on CAO this year, so it will redirect you. So the best place to come to is the Dunboyne College .ie website, and you'll see the red button in the top right hand corner for apply now, and that application process is open now. So you should just apply directly to us is the best option at the moment.
A couple of questions coming in there around progression as well. One about our animation course. As Liam mentioned earlier on, the animation course would lead on to programs like the Level 8 animation course in IADT, or in Ballyfermot, the HND in classical and computer animation, or other colleges such as Limerick has digital animation, Griffith College has animation, as has University of Ulster and Letterkenny. So lots of progression there from the animation course. Also some questions around our art course. Will you come out with a portfolio from the art course? Absolutely. One of the main aims of the art course is the preparation and compilation of a portfolio, which is required when applying for art courses in the likes of NCAD and IADT. So you'll cover all the usual modules like drawing, printing, painting, etc. With compilation in a portfolio. And just to let you know, from that course last year, we had 100% progression into NCAD and IADT and other art colleges around the country.
And also a question there on progression options for the media and film production course. So that links on to a wide range of courses in higher education, including the TU Dublin Film Studies there. So that's quite popular, and a lot of students will try and progress onto that. That does lead us into talking a little bit about progression, in fact, and that how does it work. So the studies that you'll do at further education in Dunboyne College does give you an extra set of results separate from your Leaving Cert, and that allows you to have two separate sets then of results to gain an extra pathway, as you like, into your chosen degree. So our students here with Derek and I this year are applying through CAO. They do have their Leaving Cert from last year, and now they have an extra set of results to apply with. The colleges and universities have a set amount of places saved for these students. So these students are just in competition with each other for the place, and they're awarded their offers of places earlier in August than the Leaving Cert. And then in the next round, you do have your Leaving Cert results as well. So it's a win-win situation. It is giving you the two sets of results to be able to apply with.
Questions there on work experience. Work experience is a mandatory module on all of our courses. You must complete a minimum of 60 hours during the year. You can either do that 1 day per week, or you can do it in block during the midterms or the Christmas and Easter holidays. It's initially it's up to you. It's part of the work experience module, so it's up to you to find your own work experience. But if you're having difficulty in that, we have plenty of staff members on campus who will help you out in that area. But it must be completed. It's mandatory as part of your course.
And just in terms of progression again, when we talk about the Higher Education Link scheme, all colleges and universities in the country are part of this scheme. So it does mean that you can access every college and university throughout the country using this set of results. And also that you're not stuck to what you study at further education. If you do pick a course and you're not that happy with it as you go through, or you discover that it's not really for you anymore, as you go through it, you're learning new things and you're seeing other areas maybe that might be of more interest. You're not stuck to studying that. So you can use your results quite generically to apply for other things. So your set of results that you get from your further education course is very valuable to you, because you can use that to be able to apply for other courses. So for example, I had a student a few years ago, or every year we have students in fact, but one student just comes to mind. She studied social studies and she went on to do a business degree. So it just goes to show you your results are very generically usable for you.
Some questions coming in there about our music and sound production courses and the level of practical elements on them. These two courses are really popular every year, a lot of applicants for them. There will be a strong emphasis on the practical side of these, and this will start from the onset. With your application for these courses, you'll be asked to submit a 3-minute audition for those. And also 1 day per week in these courses, you'll be out in the Camelot recording studios where you'll have full hands-on experience.
And there's another question here about when can I expect to hear back from my application? So as we talked there a minute ago, the application process is open. Once you make an application online, you are given an automatic email requesting you to upload some documents. Those documents, once uploaded, you will hear back from your application within, as Dennis said earlier, within a 2-week time frame. Once you have your offer given to you in that 2-week time frame, you can accept your place and secure that place by paying a deposit. That deposit then is refundable in full, apart from €30 until the beginning of October. So that makes you have you have your offer in your back pocket. It allows you to have that security there going forward. So if you decide you do get something through CAO that you're waiting for or hoping for, and you don't come to us, then you can be refunded in full with your deposit that you've paid.
Okay, we've come to the end of our question and answer session there. Just like to thank you for all your questions. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact Maeve or myself. You'll get our email addresses on the website. You'll get lots of other information as well on the website about all the different courses that are on offer here. So please don't hesitate to send us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks a million.